you can't care about how she acts. If she's cold and aloof a little bit in the beginning, and it takes making a social, you have to learn how to make a social connection, pull her out of it, or you're just not going to be very successful. So let's get into this little article here. Um, Kind of humorous little thing here. This thing, all right. So somebody decided to make an article about this text exchange. I've seen some really bad text exchanges. Never text a chick like this. All right. It's going to go without saying this is a little bit stupid. And of course, most of you listening, watching will know, well, obviously you don't text a girl like that, right? But there's still something to be learned here and learned about the topic too, and about sort of seeing things from their shoes. So we'll tie that all in here. But notice the title though, right off the bat. My new favorite story is about a quote nice guy who got put in his place. And so this is, of course, a woman putting a man in his place. And of course, that's a little bit silly, right? Don't care too much about that. Keep in mind and notice the rhetoric. All right. Nice guy is a bad connotation here. Nice guy is always a bad connotation. All right. So keep that in mind as we sort of go through this little bit here. Nobody wants the nice guy. Nice guys aren't attractive. Nice guys can't be trusted. All right. That's the big thing here. And you'll see what I mean and what they mean, the author. I'm not going to read the article. I'm just going to show the exchange. So this is the dude in the white here. He says, hey, next text, are you awake? And the next text, I don't know. I know is really random and we don't know each other that well, but I'd love to take you out for dinner and drinks sometimes. You're drop dead gorgeous and seemed like a lot of fun. The few times we've been out, let me know. Okay, so this is social circle, right? So that's we'll just look at that real quick. So we're going to analyze the text exchange here. So that's a pretty lame way of texting a girl. Okay. For one, there's a reason we don't start off with compliments. She gets compliments all day long. It's just not attractive to her. It's not going to rope her in and make her want to see you. Okay. Necessarily. All right. So compliments from a game perspective, if you haven't heard this before, when you approach a woman or interact with a woman, you have to be careful that you maintain the framework of you being, in a hypergamous sense, a better genetic option than she is. So if you do too much to pine for her, okay, you're going to send the message to her in her instinctual brain that she's better than you. If she thinks she's better than you, as far as mating options are concerned, it's not going to work out. She won't be attracted. So when guys give a compliment to a woman, and we can do more in-depth videos on giving compliments and how to do that correctly. But when a guy gives a compliment to a woman, he has to be careful about not having it come across that he's basically less than she is and, oh, you're so great, you're so wonderful, you're so beautiful, you're so gorgeous. When compliments work, they come from a position of power, okay, where she sees him as sexually marketable, and then he delivers a nice statement that's hopefully truthful and accurate, okay, and also elevates her a little bit, lets him know of his sexual intention, and maybe gives her a little bit of comfort, actually, because maybe there's a bit too much tension and she's not sure or too unsure, right? Where she's not sexually open because she's too unsure whether or not that dude's that interested. So compliments need to come from a position of power. Sending a random text at, if we look at the screen, a random text at almost 1 a.m. to this chick that's apparently in some sort of social circle with him, and then going straight for the close. First, hey, are you awake? And I don't know how well they knew each other here, but you're going to find out that they don't know each other all that well. That they worked together. That's what you're about to find out. And then it goes right for the close, and you're drop dead gorgeous, whatever. So it seems like a typical way of just asking a girl out. And when a guy gets nervous and goes to, ask a girl out, that's kind of what he'll do. It's kind of typical, right? Just asking the girl out. Here's what you do. Well, all right. It doesn't sound too good when we're a third party looking in. Every dude has probably texted a girl like this at some point in their life that's listening to this, and it's just not attractive unless she is like already madly into this guy. It's not going to work. Okay, she's not going to see herself as someone who needs to earn this guy. She's definitely not seeing him as the better option. When you see alpha guys where the chick is interested in him, that's generally not how that text exchange even starts. All right. So he responds the next day, no response at all. Ha. All right. So I think that's the next day. No, that is the same day, but it's 7:30 in the morning. So already desperation, right? This is again a very bad example, okay, of what not to do. But a good example of what not to do, rather, a bad example of how to text a girl. So in the morning, less than 8 hours later, 7:30 in the morning, he is texting her, no response at all. Ha. She's like, who is this? He says, forget me already. It's blank, smiley face. So, okay, this is already terrible. All right, it's already not going well. Big question mark. Okay, so then she writes, hi there. I didn't forget you. I was sleeping when you texted me at 1 a.m. But I'm sorry for not getting back to you today. Anyway, thank you for what you said. That's really nice of you, and I'm flattered. But I just want to be honest and straightforward with you. I really do appreciate the offer to go out, but I'm not quite interested. I hope that's not too abrasive, but thank you again. Okay. That is pretty, like, a lot of guys I hear complaining that girls are not straightforward enough with them. Why don't they just tell us how they feel? If she doesn't want to go out, why does she ghost my communication? Why does she play games? Guys, let's say she's playing games. All right. She's not playing games. She's not interested in you. Okay. That's usually what it is. And instead of being straightforward, a lot of women will dance around the topic. They'll not respond, and then they'll respond with few word answers. They're trying to be polite, but they're not really interested, and they'll do those things. They'll do a lot of things, right? That indicates that they're not interested, but they won't necessarily be straightforward. And a lot of guys are like, why aren't these chicks as straightforward? Okay. And so she's actually doing that. And in a way, in a sense, I respect her for doing that. I think that more women should do that. But you're about to find out very quickly why they don't. All right. Let's look at female opinion on this. I don't like the drop dead gorgeous comment. A lot of women think they're attractive, but not to the degree of drop dead gorgeous. So it already seems like the guy is over the top with a comment. Yes, it seems disingenuous. When you give a compliment to a girl, if it comes across as disingenuous, then she's going to think you're after something, and it's going to, which you're after sex. However, that signal that you're after something makes the danger signals go up for her, not the attraction signals. So she's not drawn towards you when she doesn't trust your compliment or your frame. Not to mention, once again, the compliment is coming from a point of weakness. Texting her at 1 a.m., well, when she says, who is this? clearly texting her at 1 a.m. wasn't the right answer, right? Wasn't enough rapport to throw that 1 a.m. text. I mean, we can throw that 1 a.m. text to a girl who knows who you are and it can get you laid, right? But if it's somebody you just met, you don't know them, why are you texting at 1 a.m.? It sounds very desperate. And then, of course, his follow-up, no response, without leaving enough time in between was also very desperate. Then you throw in a disingenuous compliment. Right now, any girl is when she and MJ wrote it, any girl watching this or seeing that is going to think exactly what that says on the screen. Cringe. All right. And so you don't want to make girls be cringing. If you look at the seduction matrix that I've laid out in previous video, right? She's either sexually open or sexually closed, and she either has tension or comfort. Now, tension and being some level of tension and being sexually open, that's where genuine desire comes from. Okay, that's where she's got the butterflies, the jitters, the tingles, we'll say, right? Okay, so some tension is good, but you have to be able to gauge if that girl is sexually closed or open. And if she's closed and you're bringing on some hard tension, and she's gonna that's when she's gonna feel cringe. Okay, when she's sexually closed and there's tension, that's where she's getting danger signals and she's gonna think you're a creep. All right, so let's get back into that. So she sends a very nice response. I mean, really, it couldn't have been any more polite and straightforward. Most guys who are in the right state of mind would say, okay, that's fair. Talk to you later, right? Okay, come out with me as friends at least. All right. She says, sorry, I'm not interested. Life's crazy lately, and I already am struggling to be a good friend to the few I already have. She's trying as hard as possible to be politely turn this guy down. All right. Next day, 6:50 p.m. Hey, change your mind yet? And this emoji, which I hate. By the way, guys, this emoji sucks. Let me give you a quick tip on emojis here. All right. um the when you do an emoji, emojis are actually good and they can elevate, if done properly, they can elevate that conversation and help you seduce her. They've actually done studies with response rates and they found that emojis can be effective. But what the studies don't cover, though, is okay, what kind of emojis are they actually using? Now, what I found with coaching guys and, having done this for quite some time and dealing with women for quite some time, is that when you throw an emoji down, generally speaking, especially the facial ones, she kind of imagines your face doing that thing. All right. So if you send over this emoji here with a tongue out, one eye closed, one eye wide open, like a psychopath, that's not the best emoji to send. Okay. If that's the face you're giving a girl, all right, it's not very attractive. You know what I'm saying? A wink is cool, a little half smile, a smile, laughy face, even a little devil face or whatever. Those are cool. The really weird sideways faces, tongue out, it's not attractive. All right, doesn't do anything to seduce a woman. All right, comes across as creepy. Then, of course, you add the rest of this conversation, and that's what you end up with, right? So let's face it. If you're a man, then you are probably dealing with problems and challenges with women. Now, I've got some good news and some bad news for you. Your success with women literally boils down to one thing. The bad news is, if you don't have it, nothing else will work. All of the money, good looks, and all of the best pickup and game skills out there will fail without you mastering this one thing. And that one thing is frame. The answers to ending your pain and suffering and to start living an amazing life with women is just one click away. Click the link and let's get started. Does she want Chad or Tyrone? Probably. They all do, right? But you know what? How about she just wants a guy, this guy in particular, to leave her alone? All right. And she wants a guy who knows how to seduce and knows how to be attractive in a conversation. And he does not know how to do that. As you can clearly see, hey, change your mind yet? Goofy face. Her response, no. Okay. Playing hard to get. I like. LOL. So this is not at all seductive or working. She had politely rejected the dude, and he's continuing, right? And continuing to blow up her phone. And none of this is drawing her in to a real human connection, okay, where there's an actual social connection with this other person. We're social animals. We're meant to socially connect. There's other videos I have on that, like what to talk about in the body of the conversation, things that are relevant to her, and things that are on a spectrum of things that would be interesting to exchange some information, talk about, make a social connection. And he's doing none of that stuff. He went straight to the close and then is acting like she's playing hard to get, which is completely uncalibrated. She is saying, get away from me as politely as possible. And he is continuing to be persistent and not in a good way, in an uncalibrated way. Uncalibrated means you don't recognize her emotional cues when she is talking or when she in with her actions. All right. And then you're responding based on your wants and needs rather than recognizing what hers are and having an actual exchange. That sends over danger signals. That sends over a signal that you're not going to be somebody who's going to be a good sex partner. You're not going to be somebody who's going to be a good partner, period. Okay. So in or out of the bedroom. All right. It's very anti-seductive. So then he responds, he gets this little 3 dots here, nothing happens. So then he responds, so I've been really patient with you all week and want to take you out this weekend, and you still haven't explained why you're not interested. Okay, guy wants an explanation. We don't explain things, right, to girls. That's not seductive. Demanding explanations from a girl for her behavior generally isn't going to hold your frame with that girl. And that includes when you're in a relationship with a girl and she does something that's a bit out of turn or out of pocket. Yeah, this is extremely painful, but this exchange. But I do have a point, some valid ones that I want to make throughout it, but particularly at the end. So appreciate your patience going through this horrible exchange. Now, if you see any resemblance to yourself in any one of these texts, then you know you're off. Okay. And you need a bit of help. Now, most of you guys are going to look at this and go, I would never text like that. And that's good. I hope that that's the case. That being said, however, you may say that, okay, you may think that, but the reality is there are elements to this guy's exchange that you guys do. It's a lot of you guys, and you don't even recognize you're doing it. Being socially uncalibrated, right, is one of them. Not recognizing the cues that she's giving off. Okay, asking for explanations. Now, most of you guys wouldn't ask for an explanation in this context, and you would already moved on. But how many of you have demanded explanations from women when they've done you wrong, right? Hear this out, okay? It's up to her to decide to understand. It's not up to you to make her understand anything. All right? You're not looking to give her understanding. A lot of you guys are like, oh, let me red pill my girlfriend. How do I red pill my girl? Stop seeking to make her understand. Instead, you're looking for compliance. If she is complying with your standards and your boundaries, and she's following your leadership, whether she likes it or not, then she's in your frame. If she's not complying to your leadership and recognizing and staying within your standards and boundaries, then she's not in your frame. And then you want to draw her into your frame through your actions and through emotional buy-in. Explanations or understanding is up to her. And I'm not saying you should never wish for your girlfriend or wife or whoever to understand. Of course, it would be good if she understood, but it's not your responsibility to make her understand. Okay. It's your responsibility to set the standards, boundaries, and to do the right actions and to lead with your actions. And if she is not within your frame, then you draw her in and you have her emotionally bought in. And it's up to her to seek understanding. Let's say she's out of bounds and she doesn't understand. It's up to her to seek that understanding to get to understand your perspective, in which case you can allow for that and make statements, okay? Not explaining and not defending yourself, right? And not rationalizing, but making a statement of how it is, statements of facts, okay? And of course, real conversations happen. This isn't just internet, speak in your relationships. I have what I call really more or less a quiet time, and like guys, I recommend will have a quiet time with their significant other, their girls or their plates, where they're just kind of having this communication back and forth. In which case, when she's seeking understanding, you can make more statements and get into things a bit. But that's not the same as you trying to explain to her, because you have made it your responsibility to make sure she understands you. That's not something you're actually interested in. You should not, don't be interested in it, because that explanation doesn't do anything for your frame. It doesn't do anything, certainly doesn't do anything for her attraction to you. Okay. So you're not, again, looking for that. She'll get understanding and she'll understand it in her own way. Okay. That's, again, it's up to her. But what's more important, what you are seeking is compliance. Okay. It's compliance, not understanding. All right. So we go back to the article. So he asks her for an explanation. Bad idea. She loses her shit. Okay. She says, I will tell you exactly why, you entitled piece of blank. Being patient does not mean texting a person you barely know at 1 a.m. and expecting a response by 7 a.m. on an effing Tuesday. I responded politely and honestly rather than ignoring you or leading you on. I have told you no 4 times, and you apparently don't know what that word means, which is disturbing on countless levels. I have seen the way you treated my female customers when I worked at blank. Okay, so they work together. You were an effing predator. All right. So he was socially uncalibrated in person with women. His flirting was creepy. She recognized that, was not interested in going out with this guy. You see how that works? That's how social proof works, right? So be careful when you go to the bar, you're day gaming, or you're doing those things. You want to be able to seamlessly and effortlessly draw girls in. Some of the ways you guys learn pickup make you look like dorks, and you get blown out. And there's nothing wrong with getting blown out, but you do it in front of everybody and you look like a dork. And then that will ruin it for the other women around you who might have potentially gone on a date with you, might have hooked up with you, but now they're not. Okay. So you have to be calibrated because social proof matters. Anyways, he clearly was not. So she writes, for future reference, if a woman tells you no, she wants to be left alone, not accused of playing hard to get. For the life of me, I can't understand how or why you feel so entitled to a stranger's time, attention, and God only knows what else. I suggest you seek some professional help. All right. So that's hilarious. And she started off being very straightforward and actually very polite and not bitchy, right? Like she was fine. To me, that would be a good, like, almost like, thank you for rejecting me like that. Have a nice day, right? Like that's much better than the ghosting and the no contact and then the little 1 word, 2 word answers that you guys are getting on dating apps and when you text a lot of these women, right? Being straightforward was pretty good, but you see what happened there. She was straightforward. What did she get rewarded with? This guy continuing to pester her and bother her. So then she gets to the point where she gets frustrated, angry, and upset. Okay. And what happens? His response, ha ha ha. I've had more than enough experience with women to know who plays games and hard to get, and you're one of them. I saw what you would wear at blank, wherever they worked. Cleavage always out. I think you're the one who needs some professional help or at least some self respect. So, see, now he's going to degrade her because he was rejected. But okay, I bet anything you're probably going to bang three different dudes this weekend when when you could have been with me instead. But whatever, that's your loss. Effing probably slew. All right. Okay. I don't actually care about her response here. So, to see, oh, she tells him off. All right, big deal, right? But what I want you guys to pay attention to most of all is this: that interaction, maybe not as badly as that, and maybe not as well executed as her response, but that interaction has happened to probably every girl at least several times. Okay. Where a girl rejects a guy, he loses his crap, insults her, degrades her, and all that stuff. Where a guy, approaches, she says, I'm not interested. She does it in a polite and as, respectful way as she could. And then that particular guy continues to hammer her and push boundaries. And that happens a lot, especially those who are doing online dating. And because there's that screen that's between you and the other person, and people seem to think that they can run their mouths behind the screen, right? That guy sounds like a lot of people in some of the chats and in some of the comments on YouTube comments. Luckily, not too many of mine, because you guys that watch me are pretty cool, most of you. But a lot of the YouTube comments, though, and some of my other friends who create content along these lines, that's like they get all that stuff. Women ain't crap type of stuff, right? Just a bunch of BS and just degrading women, all that. And so the point is this, right? I mean, if you don't like women, you know what I mean, then don't go out with them, right? If you're going to sit here and be sort of, women suck kind of a thing because of their nature, right? Because it's not going to help you be successful with them. You got to understand that you can't personalize these interactions that you have with a chick when she doesn't know you. And I think that's really the main point here. Because you guys will meet a girl, you'll be a swipe on a dating app, or you'll meet her real quick and do a number exchange. She doesn't know you from all the other losers that she's had to deal with. I agree that she should have a positive mindset and she should try to treat people with respect and treat people like individuals and not get jaded because of the many interactions that she's probably had with dudes exactly like this. And when I coach women who are single and are looking to do better in the marketplace, that's one of the things I'm helping them with is to show up and be feminine. Show up, learn how to be feminine, learn how to be pleasant, because part of being feminine is making people feel good, making people feel welcome, making people feel socially connected, and not to abandon that femininity because they've had several guys act like assholes, right? Like, I counsel women on that. All right. When I have them as clients, when they show up and we do a session and they're trying to date, that's one of the things we do talk about. Okay. So, yeah, I understand that point. Well, you're not a girl. Most of you listening to this are interested in dating women, and you're not women. And so, for you dudes, just because she should do something different, maybe as a better strategy, that is here nor there on your ability to end up spinning her as a plate. You see what I'm saying? You have to understand, like, this chick who might be a good match for you has probably had several interactions just like what we just went through, or some kind of spin-off of that, where she nicely rejects a guy and then the guy just curses her up and down, or sends her, a picture of his D, right? Or acts inappropriate or whatever. Because most guys are simps, right? Most guys are beta, and most guys can't take rejection well. Betas and simps, and as they said in the article, nice guy, which isn't a compliment, those guys don't deal with rejection, do they? And so they don't gracefully take rejection and not care about it. You know what I mean? When a girl is not interested in them, they get butthurt, they get pissed off, and they often try to give her comeuppance for not, hooking up with them or whatever. And it's BS. All right. It's giving a girl her comeuppance, which I know a lot of you guys like to see that. And a lot of you guys are attracted to that kind of stuff in social media and in the content creation. And I agree. Some of it's pretty damn funny too. Okay. Especially when she's a total, a-hole, and then she's just getting it, right? Like can be funny. However, when you're dealing with a chick one-on-one, and you're dealing with chicks in general to try to get them to go out with you, wanting that and caring about that isn't going to help you. You know what I mean? So you can't care about how she acts. If she's cold and aloof a little bit in the beginning, and it takes making a social, you have to learn how to make a social connection, pull her out of it, or you're just not going to be very successful. Okay. And that's just the way it is. You can't sit here and go, oh, my SMV, if she had genuine desire. All right. A lot of you guys have no idea how that works. All right. Because you might be a good looking guy or whatever, have a lot going for you. But if she just met you for 5 minutes and you got a phone number, or if she only knows you from the internet, then she doesn't know your value. She doesn't know your SMV. So you can't take it personal or take it as a lack of genuine desire, her lack of interaction with you. The fact that she might be responding to you at all and not rejecting you is already a good sign. And unfortunately, whether you like it or not, you're going to have to lead that interaction. And that means learning how to calibrate yourself and draw her into a conversation that's interesting and fun, and also short, so you leave more mystery on the table for the time, for the date, for when she comes over, or when you guys go out, or whatever, you see. And there's a skill to the seduction process. Focus on the process, focus on the skill. But you need to recognize that a girl, when she's acting shitty towards you, a lot of times has had 5 of those interactions already. And now you're trying to talk to her, and she's just in the frame of mind of you being a jackass. That's where we need to kind of take several steps back and not personalize things so much. Have a little bit of empathy. What's going on with this chick? Because when a girl ghosts you or isn't like interested in that moment, there are several reasons why that could be. And it being because of you isn't necessarily one of them. It has nothing to do with you much of the time. And so just let that stuff go. Don't worry too much about it. Don't make a big deal of it. And really, focus on the girls that are going to be more responsive. And if this chick is not, just let it go. Who cares? And maybe in a reopen, or maybe in a different time, she'll be responsive. Sometimes, like I said, it does take 1 or 2 openers or conversations.